When something extraordinary is about to enter your life, everything around you begins to shake. The people you thought would always stand beside you suddenly step away. The plans you made start to crumble. The comfort you once knew starts to feel too small. You begin to question yourself, your purpose, and your path. But this confusion, this emptiness, this unsettling silence, it's not the end, it's preparation. Before the new arrives, the old must collapse. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. The universe doesn't remove things from your life to hurt you. It removes what no longer matches the vibration of what's coming. When something big is on its way, you will feel the tension between what you are and what you are becoming. It will feel uncomfortable because your spirit is expanding beyond the limits of your current world. You'll notice signs. You'll feel restless, like something inside you is calling for more. Opportunities may vanish, people may misunderstand you, and situations that once felt right will suddenly feel wrong. Don't resist it. The greater the destiny, the greater the transformation required. And transformation always begins with disruption. The universe does not deliver blessings into unprepared hands. So when life slows down, when doors close, when everything seems uncertain, that's the moment your faith is tested. You're not losing, you're aligning. The unseen forces are rearranging everything in your favor, but they must first clear the path. So when you find yourself in the dark, remember this darkness is the space where new light is born. The seed must break before it grows. The caterpillar must dissolve before it becomes the butterfly. The night must come before the sunrise. When God is about to give you something big, He will first strip away everything small. He will silence the noise around you so you can hear the whisper within you. He will separate you from the familiar so you can walk into the miraculous. And when it happens, when the breakthrough finally comes, you will look back and realize that nothing was ever falling apart. It was all falling into place. When life begins to feel uncertain, when every step feels heavier than the last, that's when something unseen is unfolding for you. The moments that seem confusing, painful, or empty are not random. They are sacred rearrangements. You are being moved into position for something greater than you can imagine. Often, when you are on the edge of something magnificent, life will test the strength of your belief. It will appear as if everything you hoped for is moving further away, but in truth, it is drawing closer. There comes a time in every person's life when things no longer make sense. The doors that once opened easily now seem locked. The people who once understood you suddenly cannot recognize the person you are becoming. The dreams you held so close start to feel like distant memories. But that's not because you've lost your way. It's because you are being invited to rise to a higher state of awareness. You are evolving, and the old version of you can no longer hold the blessings that are meant for the new one. You see, the universe operates through rhythm and timing. Everything unfolds in divine order. Just because you can't see the results doesn't mean the process isn't happening. Think of a seed buried deep within the soil. For a long time, it seems like nothing is happening. The earth is silent. But beneath that darkness, the seed is breaking open, transforming, and pushing through resistance to reach the light. The breaking is not destruction, it is creation in motion. The same is happening within you when God, or whatever name you give to that higher power, is preparing you for something big. He begins by shaking loose everything that's not meant to go with you. That includes relationships, habits, fears, and beliefs that keep you anchored to smallness. The shaking is uncomfortable because it challenges your attachment to what's familiar. But nothing new can enter your life while you're clinging to what's old. You cannot receive new blessings with closed hands. So he begins to loosen your grip, to teach you trust, to stretch your faith beyond logic. You will start noticing patterns breaking. The things that used to excite you might start feeling meaningless. The conversations that once inspired you may now feel shallow. It's not arrogance or isolation, it's spiritual growth. Your soul is elevating, and with elevation comes separation. Not everyone can walk with you to the next level. Sometimes people will leave your life not because they are bad, but because their part in your story is complete. They taught you what they were meant to teach, and now your journey requires new energy, new lessons, new faces. There will be moments of loneliness. You will wonder why you had to lose so much. But loneliness is not emptiness. It is the space where divine connection is born. In silence, you begin to hear your true self whispering truths you once ignored. In stillness, you reconnect with your purpose. When distractions fade, direction appears. You might start questioning everything: your choices, your worth, your future. That's natural. Every great awakening begins with doubt. Doubt doesn't mean you're losing faith. It means your faith is being refined. The old version of belief that relied on proof and comfort is dying, and a new kind of faith, one that trusts the unseen, is being born. You're being taught to believe without evidence, to hold peace in uncertainty, and to know that even the silence of God is not absence, it's alignment. Pay attention to how life communicates with you during this time. You'll notice synchronicities, numbers repeating, words you keep hearing, dreams that feel too vivid to ignore. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations from the unseen realm reminding you that you are not forgotten. Every delay has purpose. Every detour has meaning. Every disappointment hides a divine appointment waiting to unfold. There will be resistance. When you are about to receive something big, resistance intensifies. The mind will try to convince you that it's not possible, that you're not ready, that maybe you've misheard the calling. That's because the ego fears expansion. It wants predictability, while your spirit craves growth. Every great blessing demands the death of limitation. So when everything starts to feel difficult, that's often the sign that you are on the verge of breakthrough. Think of how a plane takes off. The most turbulence happens not while cruising, but during ascent. The higher you go, the more resistance you face. But if you keep trusting the process, the storm eventually clears, and the view becomes breathtaking. Life works the same way. The turbulence is not there to stop you, it's there to lift you. Many people give up right before the shift happens. They mistake pressure for punishment. But pressure is what shapes the diamond. The weight you feel right now is proof that something precious is forming inside you. You cannot become who you were created to be without friction, without challenge, without being stretched beyond what feels comfortable. Every great destiny comes with its refining fire. Sometimes you'll be called to let go of something that once felt essential. It might be a dream that hasn't yet manifested, or a relationship you believed would last forever. But if it's being removed, trust that it no longer serves your evolution. The universe doesn't take without reason. It makes room for what's meant to arrive. Your job is not to understand every detail, but to stay faithful in the unknown. The unknown is not your enemy, it is your birthplace. In that space, miracles are being crafted. But they can only reach you when you stop resisting and start allowing. The greatest blessings often arrive quietly, in moments that don't look miraculous at first. You'll only recognize their power when you look back and realize how perfectly everything was orchestrated. The people you meet, the pain you endure, the pauses you hate, all of it has been guiding you toward a greater version of yourself. You are being shaped for something vast. The divine never gives small assignments to strong souls. The very fact that your journey has been heavy means you are carrying something sacred. There will be times when you will have to walk alone, not because you are unworthy of love or companionship, but because solitude sharpens your spirit. In solitude, you learn to rely on the voice within rather than the noise outside. You learn that peace isn't found in perfect circumstances. It's found in alignment with truth. As you move through this season, protect your energy. Not everyone will understand what you're becoming. Some will question your choices. Others may doubt your direction. But you are not here to be understood. You are here to be transformed. What looks like isolation to others is actually elevation in disguise. Be patient. The universe moves with precision. Nothing is delayed that isn't meant to be. If the door hasn't opened yet, it's because the timing isn't aligned. Sometimes the gift is ready, but you are not yet in the state to receive it. The divine will never give you something that will overwhelm you or pull you away from your purpose. So instead of asking, when will it happen? Begin to ask, who am I becoming in preparation for it? The answer to that question changes everything. Because when you focus on becoming, receiving becomes effortless. You stop chasing what's yours and start attracting it through alignment. You begin to see that manifestation isn't about control, it's about surrender. It's about trusting that what is meant for you will always find you, even if it has to cross oceans of delay and mountains of doubt. Life will test this belief. There will be moments that push you to your limits. But when that happens, remember every delay, every loss, every no is a redirection. Nothing is being taken from you, everything is being transformed for you. You are being prepared for abundance, not destruction. The version of you that will receive what's coming must be stronger, wiser, and freer than the version that once begged for it. You'll notice your heart changing. Things that once triggered you will no longer have power. People who once hurt you will no longer control your emotions. You'll start forgiving not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. That's how you know your vibration is rising. You begin to see life not as happening to you, but through you. You stop reacting and start creating. Creation begins in your thoughts. Every idea, every vision, every feeling you nurture becomes the blueprint of your future. The more you dwell on fear, the more fear multiplies. The more you dwell on gratitude and possibility, the more your life begins to reflect it. The universe is not judging you, it's responding to your energy. So when you want something big, you must think big, believe big, and act as though it's already done. But belief is not just words, it's consistency. You must embody faith even when nothing around you confirms it. You must walk as though the promise is already fulfilled. That is how reality bends in your favor. When you live in the feeling of what you desire, it must manifest, because the external world is only a mirror of your inner state. Still, the process is not instant. There will be waiting, and waiting is sacred. Waiting teaches patience. It teaches you to rest in faith, to trust timing, to detach from the illusion of control. Every second of waiting refines your strength, your clarity, and your gratitude. Because when the blessing finally arrives, you will not take it for granted. You will recognize it as the masterpiece it is. There's a reason storms come before the sunrise. The darkness makes you appreciate the light. The loss makes you value the gain. The silence makes you recognize the sound of truth. Everything has purpose. The pain you are feeling today is the proof that you are alive, growing, and destined for more. Don't run from it. Allow it to shape you, to soften you, to strengthen you. And remember, divine timing is never late. When the right moment arrives, everything that once confused you will make perfect sense. The people who left will fade into gratitude. The tears that once burned your eyes will turn into wisdom. And the blessings that once seemed impossible will feel natural. Because by then, you will have become the version of yourself who was always meant to receive them. So when life feels heavy, when the silence feels endless, when every door seems closed, know this: you are not being abandoned. You are being positioned. You are being stretched for greatness. The universe is aligning every particle of existence to bring your purpose into form. You are being prepared for something big, something beyond what your current self can even imagine. And when it comes, it will not feel like a surprise. It will feel like recognition. You'll realize that everything you've walked through, every ending, every waiting season, was all preparing you for this exact moment. What you prayed for, cried for, and worked for, it was never denied. It was simply waiting for you to become the person capable of holding it. When God is about to give you something big, life will look like it's falling apart, but in truth, it's falling perfectly into place. The walls are not closing in on you, they're directing you to the doorway you were always meant to walk through. So keep your heart open, your faith steady, and your eyes lifted. Something extraordinary is already on its way. When everything in your life starts to feel unstable, when familiar things begin to lose their shape and the ground beneath your feet seems to tremble, that's not chaos. It's transformation. What looks like the end is often the quiet beginning of something immense. The human mind resists change, clinging to what it knows, even when what it knows no longer serves it. But the divine plan always moves you toward expansion. And expansion can only come through the release of what is too small for your destiny. There is a sacred rhythm to the breaking. The moment you start outgrowing your old life, everything that cannot sustain your growth begins to fall away. Friends who once fit perfectly begin to drift. Work that once satisfied begins to feel empty. Dreams that once defined you start to feel too narrow. That restlessness within you is the call of your higher self asking you to rise. You can ignore it for a while, but it will keep knocking. The universe doesn't whisper forever. It begins to shake what you refuse to move. You will notice this shift through discomfort. You'll wake up one day realizing that nothing external feels right, yet everything internal is awakening. The outer world seems to crumble, but your inner world begins to whisper truths you can no longer deny. You'll feel torn between holding on to what you know and surrendering to what you can't yet see. That tension is sacred. It's the space where creation happens. When something big is about to enter your life, the first sign is often confusion. Confusion means your soul is expanding faster than your mind can comprehend. The path ahead is being rearranged. You are no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. You stand between worlds, and that in between space can feel like darkness. But darkness is not absence, it's incubation. Every masterpiece, every birth, every sunrise begins in the dark. The dark moments teach you to see differently. When sight fails, intuition awakens. You begin to sense what words cannot express. You start to feel guided by something larger than logic. There's a pull, a knowing, a quiet strength that says, keep going. Even when you don't know how, you move forward because something in you refuses to stop. That something is faith, not the kind that demands evidence, but the kind that walks boldly into the unknown, trusting that the ground will appear. The preparation for greatness often looks like isolation. You may find yourself being separated from crowds, from noise, from distractions. You may crave solitude in ways you never have before. That's because transformation requires silence. The divine cannot speak through constant noise. In the stillness, you are reprogrammed. Your desires become clearer. Your energy recalibrates. You begin to align not with what you want temporarily, but with what your soul came here to do eternally. This is why patience becomes the greatest lesson. You cannot rush divine timing. The blessing meant for you is already written. It exists beyond time. But your alignment with it must mature. If it arrived too soon, it would crush you, not crown you. The weight of your calling requires spiritual strength, and that strength can only come through waiting, through faith, through surrender. Every delay you face is strengthening your capacity to hold more. You might feel forgotten. You might look at others moving ahead and wonder why your turn hasn't come. But comparison is the thief of faith. What's meant for you cannot be given to another, because your energy, your lessons, your essence are part of the manifestation. The universe doesn't make mistakes. It aligns everything with precision. Your waiting season is not punishment, it's protection. Something within you is being refined so that when your breakthrough arrives, you won't lose it through fear or unpreparedness. And yes, there will be moments when you feel like giving up. You'll cry out for signs, for clarity, for release. But remember, diamonds are born from pressure, gold is purified by fire, and strong souls are shaped by endurance. You cannot access greatness without walking through the fire of uncertainty. The heat is not to destroy you, it's to reveal what is indestructible within you. Every tear you've cried, every night you've endured, is watering the soil of your next chapter. At some point, you'll start to notice little signs that the shift is near. You'll wake up lighter. A sudden peace will wash over you for no logical reason. The same situations that used to trigger you will no longer have power. You'll find yourself forgiving easily, smiling without cause, and feeling grateful even for things that brought pain. That's the vibration of arrival. That's how you know your spirit has aligned with what you've been asking for. The outer manifestation is only a reflection of that inner state. The divine always works from the inside out. That's why so many people chase change externally but never find fulfillment. You cannot receive abundance from a mindset of lack. You cannot attract love while vibrating in fear. You cannot manifest peace while holding resentment. The inner shift must happen first. When you change your inner state, reality has no choice but to match it. Life mirrors your dominant vibration. When you start seeing losses as blessings, delays as direction, and silence as communication, you begin to live in flow with the universe. You stop forcing and start allowing. You move with grace instead of resistance. You understand that everything serves you, even the pain. That's when life begins to transform effortlessly. You realize you never needed to chase anything. You only needed to align with it. But alignment requires truth, and truth often costs you comfort. You may have to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, the fears, the doubts, the wounds you've buried deep. You'll have to look at your patterns, your habits, your beliefs about worthiness. You cannot carry the vibration of fear into a destiny built on love. So the divine will bring situations that force you to face yourself. It will show you where you've been settling, where you've been silencing your voice, where you've been betraying your potential. It's not cruelty, it's awakening. The deeper you go into truth, the more you'll realize that your external reality was never the problem. The world outside simply reflects the world within. Change the story inside, and the reflection changes automatically. You stop blaming circumstances and start taking back your power. You remember that creation begins in consciousness. What you consistently imagine, feel, and believe becomes your experience. That's the secret most people overlook. Manifestation is not about trying to get what you want, it's about becoming what you desire. When you embody abundance, it must appear. When you embody love, it must find you. When you embody peace, chaos loses its grip. The energy you hold is magnetic. So when you feel like nothing is working, check your state of being. Are you waiting in frustration, or are you resting in faith? Faith is active energy. It is not passive hoping, it is conscious knowing. It speaks the language of gratitude before evidence appears. It thanks life for blessings unseen. It behaves as though the miracle is already complete. That's the vibration that bends reality. Because when you believe deeply enough, the universe must rearrange itself to match that belief. Yet even the strongest faith is tested. Before every elevation, there is a final test, a situation designed to see whether you truly trust, or if you're still holding fear. It may look like another disappointment, another loss, another closed door. But if you respond with peace instead of panic, that's when you pass. That's when the gates open. The universe only releases the next level when you prove that your energy can remain steady in uncertainty. Soon after that, alignment clicks into place. The people who left your life are replaced by those who understand your purpose. The opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to unfold effortlessly. Synchronicities multiply. Life starts to feel lighter, smoother, more magical. You begin to realize that you didn't have to chase, force, or beg for anything. You simply had to trust long enough for the unseen to become seen. This is the beauty of divine orchestration. You don't need to know how. It's not your job. The same intelligence that moves the stars and turns night into day is guiding your steps. Every obstacle was part of the design. Every detour brought you closer to the destination. What you once saw as a curse becomes the exact thing that refined your strength, sharpened your intuition, and prepared your heart for more. And just when you least expect it, the moment arrives. The vision that felt so far away suddenly stands before you. It doesn't come with noise or chaos. It arrives with calm certainty. Because by the time it manifests, you've already become one with it in spirit. The external simply mirrors what your soul already knew. You don't celebrate with surprise. You smile in quiet recognition. You realize it was never about getting something big. It was about becoming someone capable of receiving it. But the journey doesn't end there. With every blessing comes a new responsibility to protect your energy, to stay grounded, to remain grateful. The same faith that brought you here must continue to guide you forward. Because life moves in cycles. The moment you master one level, another begins. Growth never stops. Expansion is eternal. So when another season of uncertainty comes, and it will, don't fear it. Remember what it means. Remember that the shaking only comes before rising. Remember that endings are simply transitions in disguise. Every chapter that closes is making space for a greater one to unfold. You've walked through storms before. You know how to rise. You've seen darkness before. You know how to find light. You've lost before. You know how to rebuild. Everything you've been through has been shaping the architecture of your soul. The heartbreaks taught you compassion. The delays taught you patience. The rejections taught you faith. The loneliness taught you strength. Nothing was wasted. Every piece of your story is being woven into the masterpiece of your destiny. So don't rush your process. Don't curse your waiting. Don't fear your breaking. The very things that feel unbearable are the ones that are shaping your capacity for miracles. When you are stripped of everything familiar, that's when you find your true power. The power that doesn't depend on circumstances, opinions, or approval. The power that comes from knowing you are guided, loved, and destined for something greater. And that's what happens when the divine is about to give you something big. It won't come wrapped in ease. It will come disguised as challenge, uncertainty, and transformation. But beneath that disguise lies the blessing you prayed for. Beneath the pressure lies the purpose. Beneath the silence lies the signal. Hold on. Breathe deeply. Trust the unfolding. Because what's coming next will make you understand why nothing else worked out before. Everything that fell away was clearing the space for this. Everything that broke you was preparing you. Everything that tested you was strengthening you. You were never being denied. You were being designed. And when the light breaks through, when the miracle arrives, you'll look back on this moment with tears of gratitude, realizing that the delay was divine and the preparation was perfect. Because it was never about waiting for something big to happen. It was always about becoming the one who could hold it with grace. And now, as you stand on the edge of everything you've prayed for, remember this: your waiting was never wasted, your pain was never pointless, and your struggle was never a sign of defeat. Every tear you shed was watering the roots of your destiny. Every delay was divine timing at work. Every ending was a quiet beginning in disguise. You were being shaped, not shattered. You were being stretched, not stopped. You were never walking alone. Every step, every fall, every rise was guided by something far greater than what your eyes could see. The storms were not sent to break you. They were sent to awaken you. So, when you finally receive what you've been asking for, don't just celebrate the blessing. Honor the journey that built you into the person who could hold it. Let gratitude become your foundation, faith your language, and purpose your direction. Because the truth is, when God is about to give you something big, He first makes you strong enough to carry it. And when that moment comes, when everything aligns, when the miracle unfolds, when your soul whispers, "This is it," you'll realize it was never about what you were waiting for. It was about who you became while waiting. That's the real miracle. That's the real blessing. And it's already yours.